Dear colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining. This is the November webinar for the Local Government and Municipal Authorities constituency. My name is Yunus Arikan. I'm the Director of Advocacy at ICLE Local Governments for Sustainability, and I'm the focal point of the LGMA constituency as well. We're delighted to take you through the a 1 hour journey, or let's say 1 hour snapshot of what have we done over this month and what should we expect in the next couple of days in Dubai in terms of our agenda. Those who are familiar with those webinars we have been conducting, we are recording it and you are able to respond or Q&A anytime. But we rather prefer that we first go through the main presentations and then type our feedbacks and then have a dialogue. I just want to check my screen is visible, correct? Because today
Yes.
it's on the webinar presentation slide, huh?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. These webinars will also be available later on for the audience that you can download and also watch the recording. We repeat it twice. Today is particularly a bit difficult because our colleagues in the US are having their holidays, so we expect them not to be very active in today's webinar. But life goes on, and we have to proceed. So we hope they will come back, and we will keep them informed as well. We were expecting Asif Shah Nawaz to join us in the morning session, but he's now just texting me while I'm speaking that he would like to join in the evening. I'm sorry for that for those who were particularly expecting to hear Asif, but today, this at 10 a.m. session, he will not be with us. So I assume you have to bear with us again. But I'm happy that my colleagues Ariel and Madison will also joining me today in this round as well. We usually take a like basics of our LGMA, but I will keep it this time particularly very short because we have a lot that has happened in the negotiations. So we will focus the latest status of negotiations, especially related to global stocktake. Then we will have an overview of our COP28 agenda. We will spend some time on the pavilion. We were expecting to hear from Asif, but I will try to compensate that. We have some updates on that. And Ariel will take us through the communications, especially the invitations to the LGMA colleagues. I think after listening to the whole agenda of COP28, Ariel's guidance would be very helpful for all of us. And we will conclude especially our latest achievements on the stocktake for climate emergency sessions. And I will ask Madison to help us on that. And in time, I would like to, of course, try to give slots for our participants of this webinar to share their updates and any points that we have missed in between. So let's kick off again. I see many colleagues, familiar names in the participants of today's, but it doesn't hurt. We are the voice of towns, cities, and regions in the UNFCCC process since '95. We are the oldest constituency in this process, and we engage throughout the year. We collaborate with the presidency, but we also influence or improve our dialogue with the presidency, beyond presidency, the national governments, parties, especially through Friends of Multi-Level Action, because whatever the presidency's efforts may be impressive, at the end of the day, the outcome of all these will have to be agreed by all parties. So we have to have their support as well. Throughout the year, we have monthly bulletins. Our next bulletin before COP28 will be released on Tuesday. And you are also participating in the working groups in different capacities on adaptation, finance, and loss and damage. And we also have a WhatsApp group. I think this year, as expected, the LGMA at COP28 WhatsApp group will be particularly active. Um, and we encourage you to join us if you are on site. Maybe those who are not in person there may be a bit bored because you can expect there are always like by the hour or by the clock updates. Um, but because especially on the negotiation side, sometimes colleagues who are following us remotely may even be more advantages in terms of access to documents. Those who are familiar in the COP mode, logistically, moving from one place to another is very, very challenging. So on a remote participation to the negotiations, sometimes it's even easier. So we have built on surge and stock takes, and of course, since March, we are following the announcement from Bloomberg and COP28 presidency. We will touch upon this on that as well. We would like to express our wholehearted gratitude, and we would like to commend from the presidency. I mean, this is maybe I would like to say when I say we, I cannot speak maybe on behalf of all LGMA when we are speaking so wholeheartedly, because you may not have been involved so much in the process. But as equally as the focal point, we have significantly enjoyed the impressive mobilization, both politically and technically, and personally and institutionally from the presidency side. It was impressive. I must confess, it was one of the best over the past 20 years. Our colleagues, Asif, of course, he's the face to us, but there's a huge machinery behind that. And President Al Jaber, as well as Razan Mubarak, has been unbelievably collaborative, and they have really put a nice legacy so far. And we count on their leadership, and it will even be better, we hope, when we reach to Dubai and beyond. We had a journey. Let's not talk about this on that front, but we have an ecosystem. I will show in another slide after this one, but this ecosystem was really unique for this year. This ecosystem has its own challenges because some of those actors, some of those processes were not so much visible or active in the past, but this year was really, really very exciting. But here, this slide, I think, really can show us what we have achieved in this ecosystem. So this means this ecosystem really delivered its purpose. So all of our partners played their role. We had impressive references and recognition in so many different processes. We have G7 and Urban 7 outcomes. We have G20 discussions. We have Amazon climate summits with Forum of American Cities, Amazonas cities have been recognized. We have UN Habitat Assembly. The climate resolution is impressive for our ministerial and surge. African Climate Summit released their statement as one of the first and unique in the regional climate weeks. It was the most successful in the whole four regional climate weeks, and there is also strong reference to that. We have in September co-chair summary, which was recognizing the multi-level NDCs, and all our efforts, especially, have found their ways. We heard that for the first time, EU COP28 position made a reference to multi-level action. There are several countries who are already making statements, and in that sense, it was impressive that we will not be able to achieve all these outcomes only as just LGMA, but LGMA played a pioneering role. Our messages, our documents, our pressure from politicians to staff had made this possible. And that slide, for me, now it's one of the most interesting and the one that's giving me the hope. This is an analysis that we have conducted on the submissions from parties. You know, the global stocktake now will be the main process that will produce a result, not just a backward discussion, but a forward discussion. So global stocktake outcomes will shape how parties will be guided in the next 2 years. And the submissions from parties is the one that is making the difference. So out of 25 or so national or party submissions, there are 3 of them which doesn't make any reference, unfortunately. which doesn't mean that they don't have any work on the subnational level, but their delegations did not prioritize urbanization multi-level in their submission. So let's be clear on that. Out of these 25, as we said, three have no references. 19 of them have some sort of a reference. This is some of them weak, some of them moderate, some of them strong. Majority of strong. And majority of the submissions are also not on behalf of one nation, but it is a group of the submissions, like environmental attack group, like the European Union, of course, AOSIS, the collaboration of the small island states, ILAC, the Caribbean and Latin American, individual countries, China, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, India. The list is impressive. It is from global north to south. It is from east to west. And we believe that is our biggest asset. So all what we have been achieving outside and inside the UNFCCC process have found its way to take us to the next generation of climate action multi-level to be announced at COP28. And that's why the LCAS and the champ initiative we will talk about is very important. Out of these submissions, the chairs, the co-chairs, made a synthesis report. In this synthesis report, there's around 15 references. 3 of them are extremely valuable in terms of the language contained. These are not the submissions from the party. These are the language that the co-chairs have put forward. But of course, this is a process. So this gives us some guiding documents that, if you read the text, this is almost identical to our LGMA position paper, and in some cases, it's identical to the CHAMP initiative. So in that sense, this is extremely valuable because these texts will find their ways in the second week into the negotiation document. So supporting city-to-city cooperation, you can consider that this is subnational cooperation through bilateral and multilateral coordination. So not just Japan supporting East Asia or US supporting Latin America, but collectively. That is interesting. And it's towards climate neutrality, carbon neutrality. That's a fantastic thing that is, because in the past, in the Paris Agreement, we had numerous references to local action in the adaptation, but for the first time, climate neutrality and urban action is referenced in this paragraph. The second, the NDC, raising the NDC ambition and our commitments at the subnational level being complementary to the national goals. This is also the first time such a language is being spoken. And third one, which is to engage at all levels in the preparation of NDC. That is exactly what we were asking, that the champ should be now hoping to bring a group of nations behind that. But if this language can also be reflected to the global stocktake outcome, this will be fantastic for us. So that it will be much more global mission. This was what we have achieved so far in a nutshell. The last 2 weeks, we also participated in virtual consultations by ministers of Egypt and France, and as well as the informal stocktake discussions by the co-chairs. We had the LGMA statements in recorded videos. We will use the links in the final version of this document, and you will share this, or you will see this as well. But these were also valuable. But now, this was all what we have achieved over the past 11 months. Now, what to expect in Dubai. And before going that, you're aware we have an internal coordination sheet. This is more and more important because in the past couple of weeks already, we have made benefit of this document, and the information compiled helped us to nominate, to put information to the request by the champions or the submissions or the UNFCCC secretary or presidency. So please, and we had been in touch with you in one-on-one basis, some of them, but even those we did not discuss, we copied pasted some of the information, especially from your delegations here, so that you were able to be engaged in the process. This is not a nice layout, I know, but before that, there was another, actually, there was, sorry, no. Yes, this happens when you have made all your things in the last minute. I'm sorry that there was, yeah, I mistakenly deleted this list, but the message was, um, we will have numerous engagements. It is the most diverse activity agenda I have ever seen across the whole COPs. It's easy to get lost, and it is also easy to say,
Eunice,
yeah.
just to interrupt you, sorry. At the end of the presentation, there's the COP28 engagement slide. It's hidden right now, Madison, but maybe you can unhide it and share, or I'm not sure who's presenting.
That's the one I deleted.
I think it's at the end.
Sorry. Yeah, I deleted that one just before this. We can bring back anytime. So let me go back. So the blue zone and green zone, that's the buzzwords. Yeah. Yes, now I see it. How do I make this visible? That is the $1 million question. How do I
Right
click and choose unhide?
is this visible now?
click it?
Yep.
Do you see this?
Yes.
That was what I was looking for. Thanks, Ariel. So your delegations will be probably lost in where they are speaking and what are they speaking for. Uh, that's not that's not new, but we will do our best that they contribute to the most effective way as possible. Be aware, once again, blue zone is the one where UNFCCC negotiators are the ones that are involved and we are interacting with them. Green zone is public space. In many events, green zone activities are good for awareness raising, but it is very difficult to bring negotiators to those areas because they cannot walk out easily. But this time, blue zone is also very difficult. It is one of the biggest spaces I have seen. Space-wise, it's a bit more condensed. I visited Expo City during the pre-COP, and the space is the most impressive and comfortable one that I have ever seen for a COP venue because this was an Expo City design. It was opened during pandemic, so this space, Expo City Dubai, may be hosting more UNFCCC events in the coming years. But still, moving from one to the other will be time consuming. So I recommend you to put at least 15 to 20 minutes because of also the security, the time that you will be lost and you will come back and find another route. So be prepared. There is the main responsibility of LGMA is the UNFCCC official interventions. The engagement with the presidency's events is a bit more different because presidency has the right to choose their own partner. We cannot influence or we cannot shape them. It's their prerogative. The Marrakesh partnership has also a different format of partnerships, and this is making all the difficulties that please, when you are seeing some of the speakers, don't think that it was that LGMA did not in ask you, but it is the nature of the event probably that it was not possible for LGMA to influence in the most appropriate way. Therefore, this list, and we will share it in our mailings, is the one that is the most official UNFCCC engagement opportunities. First of all, for the first time ever, presidency has offered financial support to the observer constituencies from CIDS and LDCs. We are delighted that our colleagues from Rwanda and Kiribati enjoyed this support, and we are very happy that they finalized their contribution, financial and logistical agreements, and they will be there for 2 weeks with us. Mayor of Teinano, Mr. Baranico Barro, who's attending for the first time in the COP, but he is a very experienced political leader, also the deputy representative of Kiribati in New York, in the UN General Assembly. So he's a very well opportunity for us to raise the voice of the small islands, especially on the loss and damage and adaptation agenda. And Ladislas is a long-time partner of LGMA. We will have our opening statement. We suggest Mayor of Teinano to address this. We will have our press conference. Ariel will refer on to that, and we will have an opening statement, which is not defined who. In the first 2 days, we will have the LGMA delegation to high-level roundtables of the global stock take. We don't know mechanism for that. And we have nominated 2 LGMA representatives to the World Climate Action Summit. We still don't know how much they will be interacting, but at least we have our voice. This World Climate Action Summit will also receive a delegation from LCAS, and that is designed separately. But we're expecting around 12 or 15 of their delegation, plus 2 from the LGMA. So we will be expecting to have around 15 to 20 leaders that will be able to interact during the World Climate Action Summit. And you will have seen in the final version of this presentation, this is the first time ever a high-level segment World Action Summit is engaging so much stakeholders. So again, kudos to the COP28 presidency. They committed to be the most inclusive one. They did this, and it was not easy, and it will still not be very easy to engage, but it is a very, very recognition effort that has not been achieved before. We will have our pavilion opening on the 1st of December. In the late afternoon, we will have the plenary. On the 2nd of December, there will be the ALCAS breakouts. And of course, there will be so many side events across the pavilions. On the 4th of December, there will be an open dialogue where we, LGMA, will be engaging. The 6th of December is, of course, a peak day for us. For the first time ever, we have an urbanization and multi-level action in urbanization day. The key event is the urbanization and climate ministerial meeting. This year officially hosted by Presidency, UN Habitat, and Marrakesh Partnership, or high-level champions. We have nominated around 18 names, diversified in terms of our regional and typology of our constituency and institutional representation. UN Habitat, Presidency, and champions are working on that. But they will also see for the first time ever, I think, around 15 official events, in the sense that official meaning Marrakesh Partnership events. Parallel to ministerial meeting, we will have the Human Settlement Transport event, 2.5 hours. There will be buildings breakthrough announcement. There will be iLab implementation labs by the Global Marrakesh Partnership, which are all hosted by various partners of the LGMA constituency who are involved in the work of Marrakesh Partnership. COP28 presidency is the official host of the ministerial meeting, because if the presidency did not agree on this, it will not be possible to have this ministerial meeting. Of course, UN Habitat is bringing a huge delegation of urban ministers, but the presidency is the key to welcome this. And this is a fantastic example of different actors collaborating together. And we as LGMA have a good engagement in that. But other than this, there will be numerous waste-related events, nature events, food events, and pride events, all focusing on urban space and subnational engagement. I may have missed even the number of events here. Plus, there will be so many events in the pavilion as well. On the same day, the subsidiary bodies will be closing, and there will be an opportunity for us. So all the inputs to negotiations may be again an opportunity. During the first week and second week, there will be UNFCCC Executive Secretary and High-Level Champions Ambition Loop Breakfast on finance and nature. We have nominated the delegation. They are receiving the invitations. In the second week, we have a high-level segment. And when the summit closes, or the COP closes, we will have our closing statement as well. Our flagship is, of course, our pavilion, which is elevated even further this year. It is now presented as the Multi-Level Action and Urbanization Pavilion. Officially, it is co-convened by ICLE in its capacity as the LGMA focal point and UN Habitat, the United Nations Agency for Urbanization and for Cities. Co-hosts are Scottish Government and Bloomberg Philanthropies in partnership with GCOM and C40. And the key message, that the name and the message is very clear. We will discuss about how we can elevate national ambitions and foster climate emergency mode of action, how we can integrate urbanization into climate action, and how we can address loss and damage. I think these three highlights, you will see this in our pavilion walls. We are proud of the diversity of partners and diversity of agendas. And I think this is again reflecting our strength. This slide is unfortunately not very visible, but this is the complexity. What you should be thinking is that those who come to in person to Dubai, you will very likely take the metro. We recommend you to take the metro. Once you get out of the metro, after the the stairs will be the official registration area and conference zones. But once you get out of this two big impressive buildings, there will be a walkway, and on your left you would see the LGMA pavilion. And if you do not visit the LGMA pavilion, but if you walk through, you will see an impressive dome. And this dome, on the right and left, you will see a number of buildings which are also hosting a number of hubs. If you look at this layout, our pavilion is one of the closest to the blue zone. So we are advantageous. And I think this will give us the opportunity that we will be able to interact more effectively. This is a bird's eye view of our layout of 100 meters square. Um, it has a stage and it has an audience. The stage events are broadcasted on the web. It will be live and on demand. We will also have virtual translation services based on the partners' choices. We will have our closed door meeting workshop room, which is used by the pavilion partners for their preparation for their sessions. And there will be a networking space as well. I must confess, compared to the previous 2 years or 3 years, the way this space was designed was one of the most challenging and difficult. And I would like to particularly commend ICLE events team and UN Habitat events team, especially my colleagues who have been working day and night to bring this on practice. And especially the virtual services of this will be made by the colleagues based in Bonn, who have 3 hours difference in time zones, which will be a challenge for them, but it's a great service and asset for all the LGMA family. The agenda is here. Obviously, you may not read all of it, but it reflects the regional diversity, thematic diversity. We will be expecting to hear a number of announcements. So feel free, whenever you are free, come and visit the LGMA, the multi-level action and urbanization public, because it is the place where the show will go on from the subnational side. Ariel, am I now giving you the floor? No, we'll get back to the press conference again. So 30 minutes past. I may give a break, and maybe we can discuss about the local climate action summit and the champ. But maybe before this, if there is any colleague who would like to raise a hand on these things, maybe this can also be an opportunity for us to hear any inputs that we missed. Madison, can you help me if there are any points to raise? I don't see any hands. We can continue. So before, in the chat box, Madison shared to the host and panelists. Madison, I think you should share this link to everyone. The official website of the LCAS, the Local Climate Action Summit, is now up and available. It's the result of months of work coordinated by Bloomberg and the COP28 presidency with a number of partners. It is impressive, and it is really reflecting the diversity of our strength. These slides do not have the website view, but what we know, let me go, is that on the 1st of December, one of the biggest plenaries of the COP venue, the Blue Zone, will be reserved for our summit. You would see, and I will put it in the final version of the slide. On that day, on the 1st of December and 2nd of December, there are a number of summits. There is a food summit, there is a philanthropy summit, all branded under the side event or non-party event of the World Climate Action Summit. So ours is one of them. That's why it is so important. And then this is the moment where we will expect the high-level dignitaries. Even expectation is that there will be some heads of state joining this event. This is the moment where CHAMP will be announced, endorsed. CHAMP and its endorsers will be announced, and a number of other initiatives may be announced here. The day after, the LCAS will be conducted in multiple venues, in blue zone and in sometimes green zone. Further guidance are all available on the website where these events are taking place. The rooms are different in size and capacity, and some events may be by invitation only. You will read all these information on the website. But for all these details, we will recommend you to connect to the Bloomberg Philanthropies and Presidency so that you have the final information in terms of access. We know it's around 300 local and subnational leaders were mobilized through the support from Bloomberg Philanthropies, including travel and accommodation support. And those who are registered to LCAS will also have their badges, blue zone, outside the LCAS date as well. I know you have been asking, and even some of those who have been in the list have had difficulty with electronic communications. But what we know as of today, new registration is not possible. But those who have blue zone badges may attend these meetings if it is not by invitation only, and if the room capacity is available. I think that is the most political answer I could provide if you are asking these questions to me, because I am not the one who is managing this process. But this is the guidance we received from the partners and the lead organizers. Maybe before going to the stock take, I suggest we go to the communications, and I would like to invite Ariel, because she has been involved also in the communications group of the LCAS. Maybe there are more points she may address. And those colleagues who are in this call, who are part of this, they may also contribute if there are any points missed or not addressed. But Ariel, maybe I should give you the floor now so that you can take us through the comms for COP28 for LGMA constituency.
Perfect. Thanks, Yunus. And will you do the slides for me?
Yep.
Okay, you can skip ahead then. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can see me. I'm not sure if I'm spotlighted yet, but I will be at COP, so we can see each other there, at least for the first week. And my colleague Matteo Pizzotto will also be there for the entire 2 weeks. So I just want to say, first off, we are resources for LGMA communications. Very clearly, I have 4 calls to action for you today. So the first one is about our daily updates. You'll be familiar with these from prior years. We have there's a labor of love for sure, and Matteo is leading on our daily updates. So earlier, Yunus asked about including your announcements in the LGMA tracker, and that is what this is for. So besides Yunus, of course, knowing about things, we want to put your daily your announcements into our daily updates to make sure that those are getting spread to our constituency as much as possible. So you can go to the next slide, Yunus. This is just a reminder that this is the tracker and where you should put those announcements. So of course, the date is going to be very important. Any kind of content you can provide for us. If you also, special invitation is if you have content that you would like to actually write for the LGMA, specifically for the LGMA Daily Mailer, we more than welcome that. If you are, if content production is something that your teams are doing and are interested in contributing, we would love to have original content and can work with you to feature that really prominently in the mailer. But of course, additional announcements that you already have links to and are working on for other purposes, we'll have that in the mailer as well. So then the second call to action is our press release. So that is a part of the press conference that Eunice was talking about. I think Eunice kind of breezed over the theme. So again, what we're going to be covering there is the position statement, which obviously already has had so much impact. We now have 40 plus endorsers for that. So thank you to all of you who have been doing incredible work to bring in those endorsements. And then we'll also be previewing LCAS and of course talking about LGMA's support for that, support for the presidency and Bloomberg's approach to including local and regional governments in this year's COP. The final two topics are local stock takes as a contribution to the global stock take, and then of course the pavilion and what we expect to include in that. So maybe go back one slide. Yeah, there we go. So the deadline for this is end of day on Monday, because we are going to be putting out a press release before the press conference. So if you can't make this date, we can always add quotes afterwards or later, but just be aware that that's when we're expecting them. So you should be in touch with us you should be in touch with us by that deadline, just so we know we should be expecting something from you. Maybe I'm sorry, Madison, if you can copy my email and Anastasia's email into the chat. I'm not sure if that's possible, but then you guys have it, and we'll also put this in an email to you. But basically, that is the deadline. So everyone all networks are invited, encouraged to contribute a quote, and you can decide, what level, whether it's an elected leader or your organization's leader that you would like to contribute. So if you have any questions about that, we also are open. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next slide. Okay. So this is a different press release, and this is new. I just want to flag this for everyone. So this was an initiative that also comes from GCOM as well. So we would like to do a joint press release again from all of LGMA that is really responding specifically to the CHAMP initiative or the CHAMP declaration, or that we as an independent body have a reaction to it. So of course, we don't know what the announcement of CHAMP is going to be, how great the uptake is going to be. We have heard that nations are already committing to it, but we don't know if this is going to be a wonderful success or something where we're saying, we're ready to work with you. We've got lots of work to do still. So it's kind of a two-tone potential direction for reaction. The one thing we know for sure that we want to foreground or really come down in great support of is, as we've already said, the presidency's approach, what Eunice was talking about at the beginning, that we want to see this raising of the bar sort of continued for future COPs. Our hope with this press release is that it would come back, it's a kind of reaction, a statement type thing to CHAMP, that media have a source essentially for the reaction from our constituency. So of course, as soon as possible after CHAMP is announced is really the key piece here. Barbara, Heloise, Barbara and I are in touch, so I'll definitely connect with her on that. And yes, I'm excited that folks are already into this, because part of my goal here today was to kind of gauge a little bit of a reaction and see if folks were interested in participating in this. So that being said, end of day deadline here would be Thursday the 30th, because either afternoon of the 1st or on the 2nd, we want to release this press release. So what that might mean is, if you feel really strongly about your quote being very specific to what the outcomes are, you might want to provide 2 different quotes, and we'll have a structure in a spreadsheet. So we'll we'll share the spreadsheet also with you. And actually, I asked for emailing quotes that you can either email them or put them directly into the spreadsheet. But basically, it might be a kind of, if CHAMP is what we deem a success, this kind of congratulatory tone versus the we want to continue working with you and we're ready to work with you tone. Otherwise, you can write a quote that is kind of covering both. Any questions about that? Eva asked, should we provide only one quote from a politician for each organization? I mean, I think, if you have a political reason to involve two, for instance, if you have co-chairs or something like that, I would say let's, this is already going to be a quite long press release. I anticipate both of them. So, if you can, and there might be reasons that you might choose one leader for one press release and the other for the other press release. That might be an option too. I'll leave it up to you. If you do provide two, we'll try to get them in there. Maybe just say which one is your priority. Any other questions? I don't see any in the chat.
Yep. Ariel, on that front, what I can recommend that try to prioritize those who are on site in Dubai, because
good point.
They could be approaching for once they receive this, the media people. And then we can say that, oh, this person is already here, and someone who is not there, a bit difficult. That's my recommendation if you want.
Yeah, that's probably true for both, but both press releases. But I think maybe particularly for this one, since it's going to be kind of evolving, the live quote is going to be good, or live sources.
Yeah. Let me if you want, Ariel, I assume you're over, and we will get back to now stock take with Madison. But on this issue about what is our criteria for calling CHAMP as a success or not, that we have not discussed actually, but I think it's important to address this, to be frank to each other. For me, let's remember, this is not a commitment of cities and states. We have, for the first time, are asking nations to commit. And for me, even if only one nation endorses CHAMP, for me, it is a success, because this is all starts with leadership. But I am hearing that the number of endorsers are impressive. Let's remember last year when we worked for the Surge initiative with COP28 presidency, Egypt, and with UN Habitat, we worked for a process to bring urban action to the climate space. And again, it was a commitment to support the urban action, but it did not have a direct relevance to NDCs. This commitment is directly relevant to the future NDCs. And even Surge has very good number of endorsers. I'm very happy. The countries who endorse Surge are already the first ones coming into the CHAMP. That again, a demonstration why what we have been doing in the past has its consequences to the future investments. So it's all a question of process. So that's also all signals that this notion is becoming now really in the priorities of the nations. And that is what we should be commending and celebrating. Then we can say that we want others, and then that's also the case. The CHAMP on the 1st of December will primarily an agenda that will be for the ministers of environment or maybe heads of state. But on the 6th, there will be more and more urban ministers, and it's also possible, and we have to wait from the presidency, but there may be some nations who may join the CHAMP on the 6th of December. And that's why this strong endorsement and a strong welcome from LGMA on the 2nd of December could also help us to bring new nations to CHAMP on the 6th of December. And the more we have this, we can even force more to have the text into the COP28 outcomes in the second week. That's why such an activity is really valuable. And therefore, I'm very happy that there is such a good coordination among us, and then we can demonstrate our power. So I don't see any new points on that point, on this issue about comms, and I'm sure that Ariel will take on the lead here. But let's touch upon are really very innovative. By the way, maybe before going this, an important reminder: the urbanization ministerial. It is again one of the impressive agendas. Please register yourself because there will be this again issue about capacity, and that especially this year, beyond capacity, UN Habitat and Presidency is trying to make and one more step further. You remember last year, it was a very interesting setup. There was one unique model that Mayor of Utrecht, Mayor Daxma, and the Environment Minister of Netherlands were on stage together. And there we also had LGMA statements separately and ministerial statements. But this year, Presidency and UN Habitat is trying to make sure there is more and more examples that nations and subnations can be paired either in the seating or in their statements on the stage. So therefore, it's important that they are aware who is in the room so that they can then help you to manage this process. So this will also be another innovation that will help, and we will be very happy to hear. Matteo, you're rightly asking the ministerial registration. Madison, can you insert this? I know you were prepared for the stock takes, but maybe if you
1
like.
second.
Okay, so let's insert this link here. And after this link, then you go to our stock take experience. And we still have time, so we're all good. Perfect. So, yes, the floor is yours, Madison.
Great, thanks, Eunice. Yes, so the LGMA has been championing this local stocktake initiative, inspired by the beginning of the global stocktake process. SB 56 called for local inputs on the global stocktake process. So to operationalize this call to action, we created an event called a local stocktake. And we're very excited that approximately 27 cities across 6 continents have participated and are still continuing to host events up until November 30th. And Eunice, if you want to go to the next slide. We're very happy with many of the events that have gone on here. Just a few select photos from Rosario, Argentina, Nairobi, Walvis Bay, Denver, Colorado, and Accra, Ghana. Next slide. And so at COP, on the 4th of December, we'll have a moment at the LGMA Pavilion to shine a light on local stocktakes and stocktake for climate emergency. And this will take place of the regular LGMA daily briefing that happens at 9 a.m. And as far as like the political message, what we're trying to get across with this local stocktake pilot, as Eunice demonstrated at the beginning of the call with all of the global stocktake documents, and also with CHAMP, we have reason to believe that many countries will be looking to local voices for their 2025 NDCs. And we're proposing that the local stocktake is a mechanism or a way to operationalize those commitments. Other messaging, we would like city halls to discuss global climate agendas annually through local stocktakes, not just this one-time event. The global stocktake is also only every 5 years, and we know the climate crisis evolves pretty rapidly, so this could be a way to supplement that. We would like the UNFCCC to adopt language in the global stocktake outcome report, recognizing these local inputs, just as they called for them in SB 56. And local stocktakes can also bring multi-level governance to other multilateral agendas. So these are the points that we'll be pushing across on 4th of December, and it's nicely situated in between CHAMP announcement and the urban ministerial. So it can be a part of that dialogue and conversation as well. So Eunice, do you have anything else to add?
Thank you, Madison. I think that was a nice summary. A couple of points to be maybe addressed. This was really a very nice exercise that we enjoyed. And we really have felt this is really responding to the needs and the asks from our constituency. They are trying to really have a debate at the local level with their constituency, because it's not just for CHAMP, and these are the language we will work, of course, but we are aware thousands of councils have adopted climate emergency declarations. And again, hundreds of our members have adopted commitments. Are we really making this goals being discussed as effectively at the local level with our local constituencies, our business representatives, our youth, our workers, our neighborhoods, urban poor? This is an opportunity to introduce climate emergency debate back to the political life. And that's also very, very essential when the world is going into a mad situation, both in terms of crisis of climate destruction, but also politically wars and populism and really the agenda that is diverse, dividing us. But this climate debate is an agenda that should unite us. And that's very, very essential because connecting to a global process will be much, will help our local leaders to address these kind of issues much easily. The second, of course, this has been a practice we had done in the Talanoa dialogues. Where are we? Where do we want to go? But now there's a different. We have our NDCs. And of course, these NDCs will hopefully be getting better. Should get better. And the more we make this known to our leaders and the communities that your nation has an agenda, they have a plan. Please, let's learn about this, and especially more importantly, let's help to shape it together. And that connects especially to the champ, that if we have such a readiness at the local level, the announcement on the countries will find its way easily. And that by the time we reach to Brazil, Belém, we will make sure that this champ is really also delivered. That's the second point. And third, again, climate justice. It needs all hands on deck, and it needs inclusive action, and it also needs the root causes of the climate issue to be addressed. So it's not just only the results, which is emissions or disasters, but the root cause. We mean, how do we design our cities? How do we shape our lifestyles? How we manage our day-to-day cultural approach to from consumption to managing our relations with our generation. So this is a complete new discussion, and this has to be made. And the more we can make this kind of global recognition, it's easier for us to do this at the local level. So Stocktake was a brilliant exercise. We are so proud and happy, and we really want this to be finding its way at the GST outcomes as well. So any support to this discussion will be more than happy. You will hear fantastic stories. Madison, I think we're expecting around 10 of our, maybe I go back to this list now, around out of the 27, 10 or 15 of those are coming to Dubai on the day 4th of December. They may not be all of them available on the 3rd, on 2nd, or 6th. They are there. So those cities, those representatives can share their stories, and you will find them more on the website. It was a really unique experience. So congratulations to all contributed, but particularly our constituency who responded positively from north to south, from east to west. Good. We are getting to end of our our hourly webinar. We can leave early to save time for our discussions, but if not, and if this is the case, I can thank all my colleagues, especially Ariel and Madison, who both contributed in the presentation, but also run the webinar smoothly, our colleagues in the events team, all the participants, but more importantly, one important message from Matteo about the Trello board on the pavilion. That is also important. We will also share this all separately in an email. But as a concluding remark, it was an epic journey. This was one of the most exciting years for us, thanks to this enormous mobilization inside and outside the UNFCCC. I thank you all as the members of LGMA constituency in my capacity as the focal point. I am confident that we have did our best. I am also aware sometimes it may not be all the time the best outcomes. We are still concerned about the discussions on finance, the discussions on loss and damage, the discussions on phase out fossil fuels will be a topic. Whatever outcome comes out from Dubai, I'm confident that we have reached to a new momentum with a huge leapfrog. And the consequence of this year's mobilization will have huge impacts in the years to come, especially towards Brazil. And by the way, we will welcome an impressive delegation from Brazil, the host of the COP30, including the host city Belém, governors, mayors, Amazonas. That is again making us very excited because it is clear the legacy from Dubai will be in the safe hands. And for us as ICLE, we're also particularly excited because ICLE's World Congress will be in city of Sao Paulo in June 2024, in the year where G7, G20 presidents will be by Brazil. So we will continue to keep the legacy and to keep the momentum higher and higher. Therefore, we are looking forward to a really very, very powerful outcome from Dubai. Those who are not traveling to Dubai, please help us also virtually. But we hope that this time our delegation will be even more proud when they go back home by bringing very, very ambitious outcomes that the world needs us to take on. And we will be all happy to be part of this whole success. With that in mind, take your time, make your last minute preparations. Those who are traveling, safe travels. Don't forget your visa applications for every delegation on the Blue Zone so that you can enter free and in a smooth way. And hope to see you soon in Dubai and stay virtually connected.